What's your word of the day?
It's unrelenting. I know out there's a wall of worry this market has to keep climbing, and it can keep climbing it. It's dang the torpedoes, full speed ahead. And that's such a great quote for this market right now, because that was back in the Civil War. Admiral Farragut, and torpedoes were actually mines back then, but a ship hit a mine. Everybody got worried. Nobody wanted to move forward. And he said, dang it, we're going to go forward. We're going to make sure we just try not to avoid the mines. And that's what this market is. Yeah, there's some mines out there. Yes, there's some worry, but we can go forward. We can push higher, new highs, beget new highs. We're bullish going into the second half of the year, and don't get overwhelmed by the macro noise. Focus on the fact this market can continue to climb higher.
So, Vicky, I mean, obviously you were probably watching the show earlier. We kind of showed the quote-unquote wall of worry and all the different issues. Which one of those do you think gets, I guess, resolved or smoothed over enough to move the market higher? Do you think the trade deals get resolved in a positive way? Do you think the Fed cuts? That's something else the market's very worried about. Of course, it's just general geopolitical tensions, and then there's the one big beautiful bill.
I think one big beautiful bill gets done. They've been very effective at whipping their votes in line. I know we're having a lot of hand-wringing, but that's what a big bill is. There's often this kind of last-minute flurry. I do think that gets done. I don't think the debt ceiling comes into play this summer. I am not actually thinking we're going to get 3 cuts, so I'm kind of on the bearish one there on the Fed. I think that's a little aggressive to see 3. But my biggest worry probably is tariffs coming back into play. And who's paying this $60 billion we've raised the last 3 months? Somewhere that's going to show up. And right now the concern is that going to show up in margins? Often expected it was going to start hitting here in July. So we're watching if that has an effect on PCE, on inflation, as well as any drags on companies' earnings. Somebody has paid in $60 billion to the U.S. Treasury, and we're going to figure out who over the next few months.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. We get the ISM report later today. I want to make this very quick, though. Do you think we start to see the impact of tariffs there? Industrial is the best performing sector year to date, but do we start to see some weakness in that trade in that sector due to tariffs as soon as today, possibly?
Possibly. I think your shipping numbers are low, and you're also seeing manufacturing still in decline here in the U.S., and we cannot get that manufacturing engine going. It's been a real struggle bus there, and we're also seeing input costs continue to rise, which should lead to inflation. So, yes, I'm concerned on ISM, and manufacturing has been a weak point in the economy for the last 2 years.
You know, on our wall of worry, stock valuations was one thing. We're going to reveal our mystery chart in your pick today. It's Netflix, forward PE of 50 times. Are you concerned about that when it comes to this name?
No, bulls don't die from a big PE. Evaluations are not a big issue. That's not going to be a problem to the stock. The stock is amazing. You need to focus on the fact that linear TV is still under a lot of pressure. Streaming is just now becoming the highest percentage of viewership. They're right behind YouTube, and they're brilliant on what they're doing. Look at their pricing tiers, their addition of ad base, which hasn't really paid much, but we think ad revenue is going to be at least $3 billion, and that's going to ramp up closer to $10 billion. They're not going to report monthly users anymore because now it's about monetizing those users. And they're a fantastically run company. Content slate second half, beautiful.